Each year in March, we pause to honor the countless contributions that women have made to this nation. As a Black woman, I am uniquely aware that our stories tend really to be lost in mainstream celebration of Women's History Month. That's why I'm glad to be here with my CBC colleagues to declare that, yes, 2018, this is the year of the Black woman. For generations, Black women have blazed trails throughout this nation. Madam C.J. Walker, Mary McLeod Bethune, Ruby Bridges, Audre Lorde, Mae Jemison, Michelle Obama. This list of historical Black girl magic, it could go on. It could go on and on because in every chapter of American history, Black women have stood up, spoken out, and push this nation closer to freedom and justice and equality for all. Last year, we saw the clearest indication of the influence that Black women have on our society through the emergence of the Me Too movement against sexual assault and misconduct. Many don't know this, but the Me Too movement was started by a Black woman 12 years ago to support victims and survivors of sexual violence. Tarana Burke's work and the phrase Me Too have revolutionized the way we approach sexual assault in this country, but has been the case throughout American history. Tarana's story, the story of Black women, is often lost in mainstream coverage of this movement. And what is a shame it is, but once again, 2018, this is the year of Black women, and thank you for giving us a chance to highlight some of these hidden figures. Courageous, bold, and brilliant women like Tarana have been fighting for the soul of this country for generations. And despite being locked out of opportunity and left behind in consideration, like our beloved, brilliant, the late Dr. Maya Angelou said so wisely, and still we rise. We rise in the spirit of Black women like Ida B. Wells, who happens to have been born on July 16th, which is my birthday, different year though, but July 16th. She was a revolutionary journalist and crusader for justice who spoke truth to power and exposed the atrocity of lynchings across the country. We rise with the hope and determination of Black women, like my mentor, which Congresswoman Yvette Clarke has so boldly taken up her agenda, and she stands on her shoulders. Congresswoman Shirley Chisholm, the first major party African-American candidate and the first woman candidate who ran for the United States presidency. Ms. C, as we called her, broke many barriers while tirelessly advocating for the most vulnerable in our nation and our world. And thank you for laying her record out, Congresswoman Clarke. I have to say, I got to know her very well. I was honored to have coordinated her Northern California campaign, and I saw the many obstacles that she overcame as a Black woman in politics. I happen to have been honored to have been a Shirley Chisholm delegate in Miami at the convention. And I have to just say, you talk about mentors. Congresswoman Chisholm, she encouraged me. And her campaign slogan, I remember she was a catalyst for change. And she was unbought and unbossed. And I think Black women today are unbought and unbossed, and we are the catalyst for change. And so I can't help but honor Congresswoman Shirley Chisholm tonight and thank her for her contributions to our country, but also for being so special in my life, because I shared many, many, many moments with her. So thank you again. And we want to recognize her on this floor. We also rise with the courage of fearless Black women like Anita Hill, who held her head high and spoke out against sexual harassment despite being humiliated by a committee of white male senators. And I was reminded by Andrea Mitchell last week on her show that Congresswoman Slaughter was one of those House members who marched over there to that committee and held that hearing up for a couple of days. When we rise, when we stand up together, when we refuse to be silenced, Black women and women can change history. Because Anita refused to let the abuse she was subjected to dissuade her from working to create a world where other young female professionals wouldn't be made to accept sexual harassment as simply part of the job. A movement was begun because of that. The movement led to the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1991 that allowed employees to sue for damages related to sex discrimination and harassment. And Anita reminded us that it was a black woman who filed the first sexual harassment lawsuit in the mid-'80s. Now, this movement, it led to more women being elected to office, tripling the number of women senators from 2 to 6. And because of that movement, there are now 22 women senators and 104 members of the House. Now, make no mistake, we still have a long way to go to achieve full and lasting equality for black women in this country. Black women still make only 60 cents for every dollar as white males make. We still have to fight for access to health care, and structural sexism continues to stand in the way of black women being able to fully achieve the American dream, but still we rise. But I am confident that no matter what obstacles we face, as long as we stand up, speak out, and fight for what is right, we will win, because we are winning. And let me just say, as a black woman who has been fighting for social justice and equality all of my entire life, the fight is worth it. And so I'm proud to stand here with you tonight in memory of my mother, who was a fearless warrior woman, who taught me never to back down if I thought what I said or what I did was right. And if black women like B. Wells, my mother, Mildred Parrish Massey, Congresswoman Shirley Chisholm, and Anita Hill gave up, I might not be standing here today as I'm the 17th African-American woman in Congress, the 74th African-American, and the 163rd woman to serve in the House of Representatives in United States history. I know I would not be here if it weren't for these phenomenal African-American warrior women. So thank you again for giving us a chance tonight to talk about our great sheroes, and I hope we continue to educate the public and to lift up black women so the entire country will really understand and value and know where we've been, so they know where we're going, and that's to achieve